look, I'd like to welcome everybody to this edition of the Mayor's Brief. And with us right now, we have Ginny Morhbutter. And she's with the United Way, correct?
Correct.
And so one of the things we want to talk about here in this COVID-19 world that we find ourselves in, there are a lot of people who have a lot of needs. There are a lot of charities that are worthy of funding. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing right now, maybe in terms of increase of requests and really how you at the United Way are managing that?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mayor, for having us to start with, having me as United Way. We are seeing really a lot of our basic needs. You can imagine that food insecurities, housing needs, stability for income and family stability is really huge right now. You know, we've had a lot of people who are not able to work. We have a lot of people who are out in the community that are struggling financially. So we're seeing an uptick for sure in those basic needs. You know, and I think also for us at United Way, we're working to mobilize donations from our local citizens and companies so we can get that money back out to address those needs through through the nonprofit community.
Right. So, you know, one of the things that has come to my attention, and quite frankly, it happens every time we have a disaster, right?
Right.
A lot of people say, you know, they start self-reflecting, say, you know, I really want to help. I want to give.
Yes.
I don't really know how to plug in. And how can I do that most effectively and most efficiently?
Yes.
You know, we were talking a little bit earlier about 211, you know,
Yes.
it's the governor's kind of hotline that'll connect you with various services. And, you know, that was a United Way project, as I understand it. Is that right?
Absolutely. We started our local 211 back in 2008.
Right.
We do regular needs assessments, and it came to light that an information and referral program, a one-stop place where our local citizens could get health and human services was really important. And so we've been funding 211 since 2008 in our local community. And I have to say, I'm so proud to see that the governor has promoted this as our statewide system for getting information and referral. So a citizen can call and get anything from food, housing, daycare, legal services, local hospital information. It has a ton of great information for our local citizens. And I want to add 24/7, multiple languages, 7 days a week, and it's free of charge.
Well, look, it's been, 12 years. I'm embarrassed to tell you that I'm living in the community that's been running since 2008, but it is a tremendous asset for our community. How'd you come up with the idea? Let's just talk about that, because I'm fascinated with it.
Well, you know, it was a national movement, and we locally saw the need for it. And so we've secured local funding to get that, and it's really across the country. But it is certainly very important, and we see it during a time like this where it is vitally important.
Right.
So we get outside dollars to fund it, and we're very happy we can do that.
Right. Well, that's the importance of what you're doing too,
Yeah.
right? And you guys, you know, again, so I'm calling 211. I want to plug in. You know, I've got charities that are causes that are near and dear to me.
Sure.
Maybe I don't care about other charities as much or causes as much. So how if I want to give money or if I want to give my time, how would I go about that process?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because, you know, one thing we're encouraging is really a unified effort. It's great for different things to come up, but this is a time when we really need to unify around one fund. So when COVID-19 hit our community, United Way mobilized our COVID-19 response plan, and in that we have a fund that is set up for our local community. It's set up for individuals to give, for companies to give, for our faith community to give, and the goal is that we raise as much money as we can to stay local right here in our community. And so what we are doing through United Way is we already have this fund set up. We've already received almost $100,000 to this fund.
That's fantastic.
Isn't it? In 3 weeks, we have mobilized that kind of money from some very generous corporate partners, some local citizens.
And if I can stop you right there, that's a lot of money,
Yeah.
and I'm excited about it, but you know, that's less than $2 per person.
I know.
In the entire city of Rocky Mount. So while it's a wild number, it's not enough to stretch as far as we want. So we need more. That's important, right? So
we do. We can't stop. $100,000 is obviously a lot of money, but what we know from what we're seeing with COVID-19, the needs are going to be, they already are large. They're going to be large short term, intermediately, and then long term. We know that a situation like this is bigger than hurricanes, perhaps, that we've had in the community. People equate this kind of to Floyd, and how the long term recovery effort is going to be huge. We saw that that with Matthew in the local community, how long it took to recover, and that we need as much money as we can to be put into that fund. I want to mention that people can go online and donate. They can text to give for the fund. If they go to unitedwaytrr.org/coronavirus, they can pull up a whole host of resources for the community. They can donate to the fund. They can sign up to volunteer. That's another piece that we know, short-term volunteering might be challenging, but there are opportunities in the community, so we've got a really easy way online you can give. You can get your tax receipt right there, and you can also sign up to volunteer, which is really important. And Mayor, I want to mention what United Way has already set up. We've got a concise and accountable urgent relief grant, is what we're calling it. So out of that $100,000 that we've raised, we've already mobilized $32,100 back into the community. And we're doing that where you asked about where those needs are the greatest. We're doing that by listening to our nonprofits. We're engaging with them weekly. In fact, we're engaging with them daily. We're listening, where are the needs in our with feeding? Where are those insecurities coming up? We're hearing evenings and weekends are some of our challenges. We're hearing some of our seniors need feeding support. We know domestic violence can be on the uptick during times like this. We know that donating blood can be challenging because our blood mobiles can't go out any longer. So we've listened to where those needs are, and we've mobilized those funds, $32,100 already out in our local community, helping those nonprofits do that work to support and help address those needs around COVID-19.
I think that's absolutely fabulous, and I'm excited to hear this news. I mean, it encourages me every time I hear about the generosity of so many folks in our community.
Absolutely.
One of the things when I was listening to Dr. Cohen, who's the director of the Department of Health and Human Services, in her last press conference last Friday, she seemed to be foreshadowing that April 30th is not the end of this, right? She's referencing models and that how we've flattened the curve and we seem to be doing better than most states, and because of the way we have managed through the process, but also suggested that May is not going to be this, call it Liberation Day.
Right.
So we're going to be here for a while. You talked about recovery, but we're going to be where we are for a period of time. And I think that's a change in mindset that people need to really begin to anticipate and appreciate.
It is.
In addition, I was able to participate in a Zoom conference. Zoom is now the thing for everything, right?
I know. Who knew?
I didn't
popular?
know. But it was with officials from the World Health Organization, folks who were heads of various medical schools in London and just around the world. And really, they were talking about the science of it. There are things we're going to do, but unless something changes dramatically, it looks like we're going to be dealing with this for probably a 12-month period of time.
Right.
And so I think that's important for folks to understand, because this is not just that one cause for that short period of time. This is an effort that we need to sustain for a continuing period of time.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean to suggest we're going to all be hunkered down for a year either, but it's going to be a longer term process than we anticipate.
Absolutely. And I've learned that in working again in hurricane recovery work. Oftentimes, the hurricane happens and we have all this mobilization around that. But it's really that long-term effort that helps people get back to where they were before storm. And I really think COVID-19 is a large version of that. So what we're seeing now, we really need to address those human needs that we have, but we also need to be looking, okay, again, short term, what are we going to be looking at? And then what are we going to be looking at potentially long term? That's why our relief fund will stay open as long as needed. We actually, the Matthew Fund, we still have it open because sometimes you never know when people are going to have needs long term after any kind of situation like this. So we want to encourage people again to support that fund. If we can mobilize around that, and if we can all come together, what we can then do is listen and assess where the needs are in our community, and then we can mobilize those funds to address those needs. And our nonprofit communities do it so well. I want to give a special shout out and kudos to all of our nonprofit community out there working on the front lines in a lot of cases. We certainly shout out to all of our healthcare, our first responders. The work that they're doing every day is tremendous, and we greatly appreciate it and need it. And that's why if we can support our nonprofits and really rally around them them with this fund, we can really address some of those needs, short-term, middle term, and long-term that we're going to have in Rocky Mount and our surrounding areas.
Right. Well, it's because of that long-term, and to celebrate these folks, that I'd like to give the remainder of my year's salary as mayor to United Way to kind of make this cause, to show that it needs to be sustainable. And I think we've got a hashtag that we're working on to try to make that a sustainable cause, that we can continue to make it as easy as possible for folks to contribute and help in any way possible.
That's wonderful.
So if you could talk a little bit about that, that would be great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much for doing that.
I'm happy to do it.
Well, and I think that if we can encourage other people to give in that manner, give what you can.
Right.
Every dollar makes a difference. I was saying to you that, I've learned through United Way and through any charitable work, every penny, every dime, every dollar makes a difference. So thank you for your generous support in that way, and we encourage others to do the same. But we have a hashtag, Let's Give RM, that we want to start, that's trending. We want this to be now and moving forward.
Sure.
Capturing the generosity of Rocky Mount and our citizens and the people that love this community and want to support the community. So again, hashtag Let's Give RM. So we hope that'll be trending. And let me also mention that we do have the text to give option.
Right.
A lot of folks want to make it easy through a cell phone. This is just an easy way to send a text. And
I'm sure we take Apple Pay and any other form of payment that you can provide.
Absolutely. It literally takes a person maybe 2 minutes to go online or go onto their phone and do this. So they text 252 221 6048 6048, and then they type in the word give.
Okay.
GIVE.
Perfect.
And that goes great with our hashtag Let's Give RM.
Sure.
That's a great fit.
Well, we're going to throw those up on the screen here so that everybody can see it, copy it, leave it up there for a long time.
Right.
Is there anything else you want to tell us, and in terms of where we are in terms of this COVID-19, what you're seeing, any way that we can help beyond contributions? I know that volunteerism helps as well. Right. What are the needs today?
Well, I think one thing we want to mention is we've talked about volunteering, how important that is. Obviously, the financial contributions. I have learned in working in this type of work that money can really give, it helps the nonprofits decide where those needs are the greatest, and then they can mobilize the funds. So financial support gives that flexibility to our nonprofit community. However, some people want to give of themselves, so volunteering is vitally important as well.
And they don't have the cash to do it.
That's right.
Time is money.
Absolutely, and that time can turn into support for the nonprofit in a way that is very helpful, of course. So we want to encourage that. I want to mention, if you go to the United Way website at unitedwaytrr.org/coronavirus, they can sign up to volunteer. It's a very simple web form, and we're collecting volunteer names, and then we're sending them out to our nonprofits so they can have that extra person power that they may need. So that's important. And the other thing I would like to mention, Mayor, is the in-kind items that people can give. Non-perishable food items are needed in our food banks. Of course, we know our local hospitals, medical centers. Also, I will say our DSS and our local senior centers, they are collecting those items like masks, gloves, hand sanitizers and things like that, and they can be dropped off at the United Way office as well. So for Nash County, we are the lead site for those donations. So the financial donations and those in-kind donations, we've served in that capacity in the past. We're happy to do that again. I want to plug our local emergency management folks as well.
They've been doing a fantastic job.
They have.
Really proud of those folks.
Absolutely, all across the city and across the counties. Both counties, they do such a good job. And they have a tough job. So that's why the nonprofit community really comes in, tries to complement what they're doing and extend what they're doing. So that's a role that we're happy that we can certainly play.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to push those on our website and our Facebook page too. I think it's really important and critical that we as a community come together and support everybody that we possibly can. And I want to thank you so much for coming here and talking, and appreciate all that you're doing and all that you're doing to improve our community in every way.
Thank you so much. And can I just say thank you to the City of Rocky Mount, to all of your team. We just appreciate everything you all do, and just shout out to everybody doing such a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.